So now let's jump into Apple Podcasts premium content. It was promised back in April. They said this epic thing is coming. You're going to be able to make money from your podcast in Apple Podcasts. And in the last 2 months, it's just been like waiting for this thing to arrive. And now, as of June 15th, it is here. So you can create a premium or a freemium. We're going to talk about the distinctions here in a second. Podcast channel within Apple Podcasts to start making money from your show. So Alvin, just to refresh our memory, what were the big announcements that Apple came out with in April that were, related to channels and things like that now we're actually seeing live in the app?
Sure. So there's a couple great YouTube videos created by you on our YouTube channel that if anyone wants to go and get a recap, they can. But I did a deep dive at one point into just like, how are these channels working and what are the subscriptions? So a few months back, Apple said, if you're just listening to a podcast, you're going to follow it. And if you pay for it, that's subscription. And that makes sense because most things you subscribe to, like cable or, to lots of content, you have a YouTube Premium subscription or you have a Netflix subscription, you pay for it. So that kind of makes sense that they moved that way. And then they built channels. So channels are groups of podcasts. You can create a channel in Apple Podcasts. You can pick which shows to include. You can have custom artwork for the channel itself. That's kind of the first thing you should know. Then channels can be different varieties. So 3 different ones. There's free channels, there's freemium channels, and there's paid. Free, it really acts like a landing page for a podcast network. So we actually have one now that's like the Buzzsprout channel that has all 4 of the podcasts we've ever made all included on one page. It's kind of nice that we can direct people there and they can see all of our shows. Freemium, we're all kind of experienced freemium stuff in the past. Freemium allows you to have some episodes are free and some are paid. I think this is going to be kind of the most common, that you want to have some content that's free to entice your listeners and then encourage them to move to paid. And then there's some that are just totally premium content. So that's like Luminary type shows where everything on the channel has to be paid. There may be like, check out one free episode or listen to the latest one or 30 days free, whatever that may be. But eventually you're going to pay for all of it.
Now, Jordan, you've actually gone through the process of signing up for the creator program, putting bonus content out there, setting your pricing, all that kind of stuff. So what was that experience like getting set up for the first time within the Apple Podcast Creator Program?
Yeah, so it seemed very daunting at first because Apple's instructions are a little cryptic. They're a little notorious for that, not quite as many pictures as I would have liked or examples as I'm used to. So this was a little bit, it was a little bit more intimidating than what I'm used to. However, once I completed the process, it was not that bad. And they accepted it in under 24 hours. So it was a pretty quick turnaround time too. Yeah, I was very impressed with that. So basically, the only thing you have to do is after you enroll in the Apple Podcasters program and you pay your $20 and you sign all their paperwork and fill out all the different things they need you to fill out to be accepted into the Podcasters program, then you need to create a channel. And if you are like me and you only have one podcast, that might seem a little silly, but no worries, it's all part of the plan. So you just create a channel on your Podcast Connect dashboard, and then you only need 5 things to get your channel going. You need 4 different graphics. The first is going to be a transparent logo that's in horizontal format for the channel. And then you also need a channel icon, which is some sort of image that conveys the channel. It's sort of like a profile image for the channel. and then
kind of square orientation.
It's square orientation. However, it fits in a circle, very similar to social media icons. So, you want something that looks good. It's a square format, but it also looks good in a circle format. I haven't seen this in use on the platform just yet. So I don't know, but that's what it looks like when you're setting up the channel. And so the third image you need is the subscription primary promotion image. And this is the picture that pops up whenever a non-subscriber tries to access subscriber-only content on the podcast. And it's a 3,000 by 3,000 square pixel. So it's a square image, and you're going to want something on this image that has, your podcast branding or network branding, and then also some sort of banner or indicator to say that this is premium, bonus, plus content, however you want to put it. And then you get to put a little blurb in there about it. And Apple has a nice, clean little button that says subscribe. So that's what's going to pop up with that image. Then the fourth one is the subscription promotional banner. And this is a teeny tiny little 1080 by 1080 square. Mine, I did 3 words in it, and it looked cramped. And this shows up, this is just the tiniest of tiny thumbnails on that screen. So be very, very conscientious when creating this image that you make sure you have very clear text and contrasting colors and not a lot of things. And this is the image that is on the little banner that comes up that has another little blurb and then the subscribe or try free.
Yeah, so if I pull up your podcast, Jordan, in Apple Podcasts, at least on the desktop app, you can see like the episodes that are just normal episodes, like this Constellation series Twins episode. But then these two, I guess the Strawberry Thief and the Dragon of the North, are these some of your bonus episodes right here?
Yes, those are subscription only episodes.
Okay, so can we click on one to see what happens?
Yeah, so if we go to Strawberry Thief, then we get this screen that says we need to play with a free trial, requires a subscription to Dreamville bonus episodes, and then is this a summary tag or like a little description that you upload in Podcast Connect when you do the episode?
That's the episode description.
Okay, gotcha. I see it now. Yes,
just
that's
the episode description.
Yep. But then on the homepage, you can see this little banner below your artwork where it shows the subscription and 3 days free, then $3.99 a month, try for free. And it's all synced up to your Apple ID. So when you are either on a desktop app or on your Apple Podcast app, it just links to whatever payment you have associated with your Apple ID, and that's how you pay for it. So it's just double click Face ID, and then you're off to the races.
So the very last thing you're going to do to set up your channel is to set up the pricing and a free trial if you want to. And the pricing you have a monthly amount. And I was really pleased to see this with Apple. Their monthly amounts, even though they were set, there's so many of them. It's not like Spotify where it was like $3.99, $4.99, or $5.99. That's it. That's all you get kind of thing. There's so many to choose from. And then on top of that, you can optionally have a yearly price set where you can offer a yearly subscription at a discount to your listeners, which is super cool. And then on top of that, another optional thing is that you can have a free trial set. And the free trial ranges anywhere from 3 days to a full year. And so those are things that you can set up, and you'll need to have those prices set up prior to creating subscriber content on your podcast.
So what did you end up on as far as price, trial?
I had to do some math because they take the 30%. So I had to say, okay, what do I want in my pocket that would make it worth it for me to create this extra content for people? And so I actually ended up going with the $3.99 tier because with the transaction fee and the 30%, I was still getting about $3 out of it. And I felt like that was a fair price for just a couple bonus episodes each month.
So if Alvin and I wanted to do a special bonus episode revealing the truth about who is who, and you could get access to it for $99.99, is that a pricing option inside of Podcast Connect? Because that's some scintillating
wants to
details.
hear that
like
for free, so it doesn't. I mean, like,
this is a hypothetical. This is a hypothetical.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let's find out, how much can you charge? So you can charge as little as 49 cents.
probably a reasonable amount.
But, you got to remember to take out the transaction fee and the 30% platform fee from that.
So we need four subscribers in order to get $1.
Whoa! You can charge up to $999.99 a month for that premium content.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I don't. What would have to be on this podcast for you to be willing to spend that much? This has got to be like real thoughts from Elon Musk on like when he's going to tweet about Bitcoin prices or something.
Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, I can't even imagine a person on this planet that I would pay that much for.
Santa Claus.
Well,
I would do it for Santa Claus.
Let us know. Drop a comment on this YouTube video or shoot us an email to support. What would it take for you to spend $1,000 to
Per
get
month.
premium
Per
a
month.
month?
Yes.
What would it have to be? What would you have to be for you to actually want to spend that much? One thing I remember noticing when we were searching for your podcast, Jordan, was that there wasn't a channel for your podcast.
Yeah.
Even though you had to set up a channel, because this might not be a little confusing to everybody. You subscribe and you pay for a channel, and it gives you access to all the podcasts on that channel. The only time that seems a little bit different is when you only have one podcast in the channel. And then it looks like you don't actually find the channel. Like the channel doesn't really seem to exist, at least when you search in the app. You would search and then just the podcast would come up, and then you subscribe and pay for just that individual podcast. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. So if you were to search my podcast, you would not see a channel. But if you searched, let's say, let's use Luminary again or Tenderfoot, if you search those, channels pop up, but because those are networks and they have multiple shows on the channel. But mine, since it's just my little lonely podcast, in that channel, you will never see my channel. It will only be my podcast, which I actually think is very smart of Apple to keep down the channel clutter, because they're requiring you to make a channel, but it's not necessary for the end user to see that.
Right. And Jordan, you mentioned a couple. So just here on the Browse tab in Apple Podcasts, you can see featured channels. So these are all pretty large podcast networks, and they run the gamut. So for instance, Radiotopia, their freemium model is $4.99 a month to get ad-free versions of the shows. And so you wouldn't have the baked-in host-read ads if you subscribed here, which I don't know, that'd probably save you 8 minutes per episode if you don't skip. Pushkin is same thing, uninterrupted listening and exclusive bonus episodes. So they're also dropping in content, and they have a 7-day free trial before you hit $4.99 a month. And then Luminary, like you mentioned, everything is behind the paywall, $4.99 a month. Apparently they have award-winning originals. I don't know what awards they won, but somebody said they were worth listening to. But then here's
won like 2 different JD Power awards or something.
What, for like best long-term consumer value in a truck? Is that what they? Is that the JD Power award they won?
That's what Ford's always bragging about, their JD Power awards.
And then here's another example: Broccoli Productions, who I'd never heard of before. They have 5 shows in their channel, and it's totally free. So this is an example of a free channel where you still have that transparent logo that Jordan talked about, and you can organize all of your shows. And I'm not sure how they decide these top episodes, if they do it based on downloads, if they do it based on something else. I've seen a variety of different ideas of what this could be. but this is essentially the ones that Apple thinks you would like the most. And then if we go and look at our Buzzsprout channel, which is also here, so you can see, like, if we just type in Buzzsprout, we have a bunch of our shows. Here's our little square icon turned into a circle. And then if you go to our page, this is a transparent logo. It's got a little background color, and then it has our top shows and then our top episodes, which are all how to start a podcast. So that might be why it's a download based thing, but I also don't see the most popular Buzzcast episode, which was the one where we did about the DDoS behind the scenes murder mystery. That's not on here on top episodes. So who knows how they're doing it?
I also noticed that a lot of the bigger podcast networks, instead of just having the plain color in the banner like the rest of us do, they will have an image. And I've seen that with Pinna. I've seen it with Tenderfoot. And so I think that's another one of those things, like how they have host images only for specific podcasts. I think that they're doing banner images only for specific networks too.
Yeah, this is something Travis and I asked Apple.
Our anonymous source on the inside. Our anonymous source at Apple.
Anonymous source. A very normal conversation. We asked about that, and you're right. It's something that they can do. It sounds like it's a manual process, so they did it for some of the largest podcast networks. But I noticed that not even all of them that are included at launch did it. I think the Tenderfoot channel page doesn't have that kind of full bleed image. Instead, they just did that transparent logo.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think if people are going to pay for your podcast content, I very much doubt that they're like, what? Doesn't have the full bleed image? I'm out. Like, that's not going to be the deciding factor for anybody. But it does look like it's not going to be available for anybody else.
And I mean, the nice thing is, though, that you get to choose the color that is the plain background. So I was able to keep mine within branding, even though it's the plain, even though I'd love to have the fancy image in the back, or even some of them seem to have a transparent kind of like color over an image. I don't know. But even though I can't have that, it still looks nice and within my branding. Not that mine shows up. I spent a lot of time on that, not for it to not show up, because I don't get a channel, apparently.
You just got to create a podcast with one episode that says, go subscribe to the other podcast, and put that in your channel.
And then I'll get my channel, yeah.
And then you'll get your header image and everything, and it'll look glorious.
People will finally see all my hard work. Yes, I guess that's another thing to think about. You know, if you're setting up your channel and it's just you, maybe don't think so much about the logo that you're putting in and the icon image for the channel. Just focus on the subscriber primary promotion square and maybe that little 1080 by 1080 icon that's with that too.
Definitely something that I think a lot of podcasters will consider using, especially, you know, with the listener supported model becoming more popular for indie podcasters, whether it's Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee or what are some of the other ones? Like Glow, I think, is one.
Podfan.
Yeah. So like these different ways that your listeners can support you financially in exchange for like bonus content. This is like one more way of doing that for your Apple Podcasts listeners. Now, Jordan, I know that you have a Patreon. Do you still have a Patreon going? Are you planning on continuing that?
I do. And I do plan to continue that because there's more content that can be put on Patreon. There's more interaction with members. And I'm on the 8% platform fee tier.
On Apple, you'd be paying 30% for the first year. And after that, it will drop to 15%. But on Patreon, you're at 8%. So significantly better numbers.
Yes. And more that can be done with that. You know, I get to have polls for my listeners on what the next episode's going to be. I can post images or videos or behind the scenes, all sorts of things with Patreon.
Now, if you didn't have Patreon going already, And I know your audience skews heavily Spotify, but if you had, 50% or more of your listeners on Apple Podcasts and you were just getting started, now that you've kind of tasted both, what would you think would be like the one to try first to see if the listener support model would work for you?
Well, I would try one of the other membership platforms prior to Apple because Apple costs money up front. You don't know if it's going to work, and it's a 30% cut. And it's a little bit more involved. Whereas the other ones where you get to just upload episodes and you don't get charged until someone buys from you, that makes a lot more sense from a starting off point.